All right, everybody, welcome back once again to the PCS. Right in the middle of the day, we got ourselves a good old installation of the Battle of the Banks, and it's going to be a good one if the previous precedent set has anything to go by. But before we get into that, I do want to thank our wonderful sponsor, CTBC Bank. Their team's even playing today. It is going to be CTBC flying Oyster as well on the Rift. So, really exciting to see if they can topple Mega Bank Beyond Gaming. But thank you so much, CTBC, for always being by our side. Now, Clement, here's the thing about this matchup. Despite CFO being the more consistently dominant team since they joined in spring, Mega Bank Beyond Gaming have a 3-0 over them in this head-to-head.
And I'm here today to give you a breakdown on how to tackle CFO. The number one thing that Beyond Gaming always does is they put Mission in tilt mode. They always target him early by the ganks, and they ban a lot of his champions. In the last matchup, they actually quadra banned Mission, forced him to play a Syndra, and then just see him kind of unravel. We do know that Mission is kind of known for having a tilt mode where he just wanders the side lanes and is way too passive in team fights. Beyond Gaming have found out the magical buttons to just put him into that mode. The second thing I think CFO are not that strong at is team fight cohesion. They are known for being great individual laners, but when it comes to team fights, there are a lot of teams that would actually take over them. I think DCG, J-Team, and I would say even Beyond Gaming are more cohesive in that scenario. So what Beyond Gaming have been doing is just hard targeting Shun in these team fights. They all rush at him, kill him before CFO can react, and we've seen them actually come back in spring while being down 6,000 gold to win a game versus CTBC.
Yeah, I think that's got to be weighing on the minds of the CFO members right now. And if you think back, the last time this squad lost, it was against Beyond Gaming. They're currently rocking a 4-game win streak, but back in early week 3, they did drop that one, and it was exactly as you said. Mission banned out a bunch, ends up on that Syndra, and shouldn't just focus down, never got a chance to get to the late game. This is the team that did it to him. Lee Kai, Husha, Minji, Wako, and Kino, and I think their strength, it really does have a lot to do with their fighting coordination. Not even always as 5-man units, though. They are very, very good in the skirmishes.
Yeah, Beyond Gaming is such a fun team to watch because they always have that sort of hero's arc where they come from behind to then come out triumphant. Their laning phase is, in terms of the top teams, one of the weakest out of the, I would say, the top 5 teams. Their only consistent winning lane is actually in their bottom side with Wako and Kino. The solo lanes, not so much. And we are going to be taking a look at the bottom side. I think this is going to be the most important lane. So far, Shun has just been tearing it up in the laning phase. Plus 1,600 gold. That's the best individual laning stats you can find in the PCS. That is almost 5 kills on average so far. So I think it really hinges on Shun. If he gets too far ahead, I don't think it even matters if Mission tilts. If Shun just hits his average numbers, I feel like the game is going to go CFO's way.
Yeah, and the thing that may look a little bit weird when you're comparing these two, right, is like the damage percentage. The thing is, Shun doesn't tend to need high damage percentage because he doesn't get to the late game that much. They win beforehand. Like, this is a team that just crushes people in the lane. So he's picking Aphelios. Of course his damage number is going to be low early. Let's get into picks banned, see what happens. We see some mid laners banned away. The Ahri, the Seraphine. I say mid laners because, yes, that is exactly the champion Minji used against Mission last time.
We saw the Seraphine plus Lee Sin combo, super difficult to execute, but Husha still able to pull it off wonderfully. And for the last time, Beyond Gaming banned a lot more than this. They banned the Victor all the way to the Galio just to make sure Mission doesn't get anything he wants. So
this is that's 100% mid lane ban rate right now. They messed it up.
And we do have to think about the champion pools. Victor is still there. Galio is still there. I would want to see CFO actually just pick up something rather than the Syndra early on. I feel like the Syndra is so vulnerable to the way that Beyond Gaming likes to play, which is going in and trying to find a lot of picks into the enemy jungle. So I definitely would prefer a rather higher priority on the champion.
Zeri left open was a mistake last game. I feel like it may be this game. In Shun's hands, he hasn't gotten to play it this split yet. They do give the Nara away to Lee Kai, but what do you make of that one, Clement?
Well, I feel like a lot of teams are willing to give over Zeri right now and play the Aphelios plus the Jinx into it. Zeri, of course, is still an incredibly powerful champion. I still think she's probably the hardest one to deal with if fed. But if you can keep her about even into the late game, she's not like before with the Triforce build where she's just like impossible to kill. The crit build does open her up to a little bit more vulnerabilities there. And this is what I want from CFO. Early picking something from Mission, making sure he can stay away from the city.
Well, he knows the matchup too, and now with the Silas already shown early on, and it does feel like CFO really going into late game, and if they lock this GP, it's just like ticking box after box after box. I mean, look at the scaling between those three champions.
Yeah, this is how CFO likes to draft. You know, strong lanes, strong scaling. You can play more individualistic with this sort of setup. You can go into more 1-3-1s. Well, for Beyond Gaming, I think with the Silas, they need to find some more divers. I need to see something in the jungle position that can facilitate an instant kill with Minji as he goes in. I feel like the terrain denial from CFO is just way too strong. If you move through these chokes slowly, you're going to get decimated by the barrels and by the Chaos Storm. So it has to be fast. It has to be really violent.
Boy, gauntlet being thrown here in this one. The Vi being banned away. I think Beyond Gaming, we're thinking exactly what you were thinking. We have seen a Vi already. Didn't quite work out, but it would be pretty good into this type of comp to try and lock down Wako. So I think that is going to be a good strategy. Nautilus banned
I felt
as
like
well.
Vi was something that Beyond Gaming wanted to pick themselves, which is unstoppable, charges through terrain, gets guaranteed engage. But yeah, I'm kind of curious about this ban. I don't think it was a great ban necessarily. And I think both of Husha and Gemini, we have to pay attention to Lee Sin. I know Lee Sin isn't particularly high on anyone's tier list right now, but for both of these players, they are Lee Sin mains. They can do wonders on this champion.
Okay, hear me out here, Clement. You said fast dive. How do you feel about Nocturne?
Ooh.
Ooh.
I
or
like it.
Or an old
I
Husha
like
special, Rek'Sai. I know we're going off meta, but I mean, there's 3 jungle bans tossed out here. I feel like you got to get creative.
Yeah, and we have seen Husha go creative on those picks, just to make sure that...
Wait a minute. Oh, please
there's
go back
no
to
way.
Melveth.
There's no way.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
We've seen... yeah. Hey, it hasn't been nerfed in 12-13 yet. Okay. All right, Wukong. I mean...
That's a standard one.
That's standard.
You want some engage, you want to dive. Wukong is probably the safe pick, but man, would I wanted to see something like the Rek'Sai come out.
Look, I mean, look, it works, it's good, it's consistent, but it's like going to your favorite restaurant and just ordering an old favorite meal. You know exactly what you're getting. Sometimes you should just toss a bit of spice in there. Throw caution to the wind. Yeah, this is why I'm a play-by-play caster and not a coach. But anyways, we're going to see the Viego matched by Gemini on the other side. So how do you like what CFO's bringing to join into their lanes?
I don't think the Viego actually does all that much for this composition. I feel like they have enough damage, so Viego is... I would have actually preferred the Lee Sin here, just a stronger champion with more disengaged potential. And I think Koala going for the Renata is exactly what you need. The Beyond Gaming is pretty much locked into a triple dive comp, so Renata works perfectly here. Great last pickup. For Beyond here, I think they need... I think a Mumu would be really good here, but it doesn't provide much protection for Jinx. It's a very weak lane. The standard answer might be the Tahm Kench, but I feel like they're playing on 2 different sides, on 2 different wavelengths, exactly. Because the Tahm Kench doesn't help you when you're going up against Zeri, Victor, and Gangplank.
Yeah, I mean, at best, you can kind of delay the inevitable a little bit by, like, swallowing the Jinx up, but yeah, I'm a little bit worried. I think you're putting a lot on Lee Kai's ability to multi-man Gnar, right? Like, if you can lock down those prio targets, they can be squishy. Like, this isn't the tankiest composition on the CFO side. Like, the Viego's probably going to be on a bruisery kind of duty. Maybe that's the end? I don't know. Beyond have always, like, I feel like we're always here. Like, every week, Clement, we always look at Beyond Gaming's draft and go, and then they just wow us. You know, like, I don't know what to say, but it feels like it happens every time.
That's definitely true. You know, we've gone into the Battle of the Banks 3 times, and I'll be honest, like, every single time I always felt like CFO was going to win. But Beyond Gaming,
I mean, that's because they're so more consistently good.
I know, they were a
Yeah.
second place team in spring. They had a far better record. They have a far better early game. They had a much wider champion pool. But Beyond Gaming just has their number. So going into this one, I feel like it's even more lopsided because Beyond Gaming has not fully committed to a full dive composition. They actually have the Tom Kench, which is bad in lane and I don't think particularly useful in this composition against the game playing Zeri that actually has the range advantage. So I'm very worried. And this time around, Mission actually has a decent champion to play. It's not like he's locked onto the Syndra game anymore. So all of the factors we are talking about in the pregame of how Beyond Gaming usually triumphs over CFO, they're not there. I'm willing to be surprised, but this is an uphill battle.
Yeah, I think they're giving themselves a difficulty challenge, maybe trying to test the limit, see if they can still get that one. If they do get the win here, it would be a 4-0 head-to-head without any postseason matchups between these two. But it has already become quite a rivalry. I do like to see it, and we will see if CFO still see Beyond Gaming as a bit of kryptonite or if they overcome their demons here in this one. I think they've given themselves quite a good draft. I like what this team does. I like that they are squarely in their comfort zone. Yeah, maybe the only head scratcher is that Viego, right? Like you could have maybe put Gemini on something like tanky, or I know the Trundle was hovered on the opposite side. You could have maybe done that instead. But we'll have to see how it works out, right?
Yeah, the Viego definitely gives you a little bit more carry potential, a little bit more oomph, but I don't think they really need it given how strong their carries are anyway. I would have preferred the Lee Sin, of course. Looking at the comps overall, though, and looking at just kind of the standings, the standings. Sorry, that's what I wanted to say. In a very real sense, Beyond Gaming might have been preventing CFO from going to MSI because the two losses that they suffered at the hands of Beyond Gaming made sure that side selection was with PSG come the playoffs. And we have to remember how close that series was, because
it was basically 10-game series.
Games. Yeah. It was they played 9 games in total, which CFO winning more games than PSG actually did. The good thing about Summer Split is Beyond Gaming also beat PSG, so at least they're being even-handed.
It feels like every split gets just a little bit more competitive, and we were talking about at the beginning of the day, like our top 5 teams just all looking so good here. Beyond Gaming, like they're the one squad that is not like part of the J-Team universe or PSG Talon, but they of course made a big name for themselves last year. They were the new kids on the block then and stepped up massively and kind of were the big challengers. They did the same thing to PSG that they are doing now to CFO. Like this is a team that just somehow knows how to take down these otherwise unconquerable titans, and I think that's why you can never count them out of a given game. At the same time, they will also just like lose random games. Like it is a little bit it's not a full coin flip, right? It's not every single game, but they do things that are a little bit off every once in a while, make some strange choices. I do want to shout out that they've stuck mostly to Lee Kai this split. We have seen a handful of Leon games, and I think we looked at the difference being maybe team fighting looks a little bit better for Leon. Clearly it's been different this time around. I think Lee Kai has developed a little more. He seems to be the player that they want to start with. He has a better laning phase, I think it's fair to say, but also kind of solid skirmishing. So I think Beyond have found a good identity for themselves, even if it is one that is hard to anticipate.
I think Lee Kai is going to be the future for Beyond Gaming. Liang was contemplating retiring after coming back from Worlds last year. He's been around the scene for a very long time. It was with the MAD team earlier on with AHQ Fighters. So, he's definitely the more veteran, the more experienced, but also closer to kind of the end section of his career, if you will. I think Lee Kai still has a lot of work. I think he's definitely regressed compared to his Machi days, where he was a very reliable side lane split pusher. He's not been able to win the lane or even come out ahead. He's actually slightly below average in terms of his stats as a top laner. So I think Lee Kai still has a lot of work to do, a lot of proving that he needs to show up for. But so far, we still have to remind everyone, despite what the standing says, Beyond Gaming is 3-0 in the Battle of the Banks. They have always made it through. The chips are stacked against them, but I'm willing to believe.
Yeah, we've been building up the tension here, but it is on. We'll see who takes the pot in this edition of the Battle of the Banks. Both these teams pretty close in the standings, though. All things considered, Beyond Gaming are only a game back at 7-4. sole possession of 5th place. It's crazy how close the top 5 teams are.
Yeah, we have PSG already suffering 2 losses at the hands of Beyond Gaming and DCG. Everyone clumped up at 8 wins and 7 wins here. So honestly, every one of these matches is going to be incredibly important. Our playoff format, to my knowledge, hasn't changed. So we're still looking at the top 6 to make it on the upper side of the bracket. Give yourself that extra chance before facing an elimination match.
Yeah, you get the double elims when you're in the top 6. For those of you unfamiliar with the PCS, it is a very wide playoff pool, but only double elimination if you can get into the top 6 spots. Now, into this game, onto the Rift we go. Minji standing on a ward. This could be dangerous if he goes too deep into the Death Rush. It's actually 3 members. They get the root off onto Kino, and oh no, CFO drop first blood, giving it to Shun.
Well, that was a bit tragic coming in from CFO. They dropped the ward down very early, and I don't think Minji actually saw the ward drop down there. So Beyond Gaming, they try to give themselves a better laning phase because of how weak their lane matchup actually is with Kino, with the Tahm Kench versus the Renata Glass. They try to venture in for a potential vertical jungle to cancel out the bot lane disadvantage, and they get caught red-handed. CFO definitely knew that they were coming in. They had the full stack, handshake into easy pickup kill. And the kill also goes over to, as you mentioned, Shun on this call, which is probably the worst case scenario for Beyond Gaming.
Yeah, that's going to set you behind early on in this game. So if it already wasn't hard enough in the beginning, now they got to deal with that. I will ask, is there a potential silver lining here? Because Shun burns Flash to secure that kill. So maybe we see an early Husha gank. I mean, he's definitely the player for it, but they got to survive first. Kino, he's in danger of going down again.
Yeah, Shun taking a lot of damage, though. Good response here by Wako, using the lethal tempo. A lot of times you can miscalculate how much damage lethal tempo does earlier on. Massive amounts of attack speed. And yeah, I agree with you. I feel like this is going to be a very swingy bot lane, because if Shun manages to, get ahead with the kill plus the call, then he's essentially up like almost 700 gold at the start of the game. Mission though,
he's caught right now.
Doing?
Oh, burn Flash a little late. He's trying to limp away, but can't quite get away from Husha. That's a nice play for Beyond in the mid lane. So Operation Tilt Mission is clearly still the name of the game.
I feel like Mission tilted himself. You don't do that right in front of a Sylas. You have to push the wave even further in for that ward to be comfortably dropped there. And, this is, I think, as a player, my biggest criticism of Mission is he typically doesn't have the best coordination with his jungle. If you want to drop that ward, you have to bring Diego along there. You get Kata, you're instantly dead. If Beyond Gaming just go onto him with no hesitation, he doesn't have a flash, and his wave is not in a good position.
Yeah, Minji's got to be very, very happy with how that all went down. The kill does go to Husha. Checking in top side of the map, of course, we'll just see the kills, or the damage a little bit back and forth. Rest already getting a good push on. You talked about how Lee Kai's laning just hasn't been as great. Well, Rest has been honestly pretty solid, and now he's built up a wave. Lee Kai's having a hard time. Husha is here, but Rest should be able to get out of danger. I mean, there's no Cyclone, so the knockup wouldn't be available. It's pre-6. Rest can just keep harassing Lee Kai here.
Yeah, I think Rest is very comfortable. He does have this big cannon minion wave building on, and he knows that the Wukong doesn't have flash, so the chances for him to actually be chased down here are rather slim. I do think this is the correct play to continue to just push on here. Looking at Beyond Gaming's plan, I feel like there's a couple things they could do in the next couple of minutes. Minji, he has his wave shoving towards him. That's a repeat gank. And also you have this bottom lane that's pushing up with Shun with no flash. So I expect Husha to focus his efforts on the bottom side and try to find a gank opportunity.
Well, he's close right now, sitting in that jungle. Farm off, but already starting to find some free fire. I do love watching the Jinx versus Azeri. You get the burst fire and the pow pow just back and forth. Two champions that have some similar animations. Ooh, nice pull in from the handshake of Koala, letting a little extra damage onto Kino. You talk about how this Tahm Kench can suffer in the laning phase, and you're seeing it happen.
It's a very difficult matchup for Tahm Kench to play. He cannot dodge the handshakes very well, so he just gets pulled
he's a big
around
boy.
on the map. And Gemini, we got spotted.
Spotted on that control where Minji immediately turns for him, though, and into the gravity field, but Gemini is already out of there. Husha finds the killer instinct.
Wow, I don't think CFO or us really saw the damage in that one, but
Gemini
Minji,
didn't flash. I don't think he thought he was
yeah.
dying, you're right.
That
Man.
was such a huge chunk of damage so quickly. CFO were still banking on the gravity field to save them, and it didn't work whatsoever. They just straight up bursted him through.
Yeah, oh boy. Meanwhile, Kino
Locked
going for a
forward.
little bit of a dive. That's Shin hopping the wall. This is another reason why it's a little risky. Sure, you can go on the Abyssal Dive, but, I mean, Spark Surge over the wall.
Yeah, I love that play from Shin, just stepping over the crowd control. They take another big chunk out of Kino here. Though we do have to mention that Kino actually has the teleport, so he can afford to go for a lot of these risky trades and make
That's
it back
true.
to lane just okay.
Yeah, Unsealed Spellbook is quite a nice keystone to take here. Rest, ooh, does not get hit into the wall. Likai burns an ultimate, and Rest holds on to his for right now. Likai is struggling in this lane.
Yeah, Rust very well could have forced the flash into this one. They are going to go back to their favorite tactic, which is, hey, mission's pushing out. Let's see what happens.
Everybody's favorite summer pastime, camp mission. Kino and Wako trying to get the lane pushed themselves down bottom. It's just a battle of the coals. Shun will most likely win this one as you take a look at the numbers right now. Husha, very aggressive though. I mean, this is one of the reasons why we give him such a lot of airtime, I think, as a jungler, because he just gets in your face so often. Gemini gonna try to match that just a little bit. Still level 5, so he won't have access to the Heartbreaker. But with mission up here, yeah, I don't think Likai's getting anywhere near his tower anytime soon.
Yeah, Likai doesn't have his ultimate and is very far away from the Rage Bar, so Beyond Gaming are forced to make a play here.
They're going to do it. Looks like bringing 4 down to the bottom, a little slow as they immediately start Rest, ults, the bot wave, and that is enough to at least delay the push. No, dissuade it entirely. Very, very helpful from CFO's top side.
And the top lane deficit is bleeding across the map right here. Rest had a completely uncontested start of the game. Usually the way this matchup goes is if Nard doesn't get a pushback on the wave bounce around level 3, level 4, then Gangplank can kind of just walk away with the matchup. And this is exactly what we're seeing. I feel like Likai is put so far behind that he's just not going to be catching up whatsoever. This lane is going to be a constant bleed out on the side of Beyond Gaming.
Yeah, so CFO feeling pretty happy about their top side. I think they could feel fairly happy about the bottom as well. I mean, this area should be able to catch a little bit back up in the farm. But for Beyond Gaming, you know, the strategy of trying to set mission behind it has worked out for now. Will it be enough, though, is the question, as they are in the Rift Herald with 4 members. Koala Gemini sees this, won't be able to stop it, and I think you have to get a lot of value out of this Herald if you want to get back in the game.
Yeah, and I wonder where they're gonna place it. I think it would probably be best at this point to get Minji a little bit more gold. I think a straight drop mid is actually completely fine in this situation. If you have Minji somewhat fed, then yes, he can go into the side lanes, give you a little bit more pressure. Because right now, I don't think Likai can push the wave out anymore. He's actually behind a lot more gold than the CS will indicate. He's down 25 CS, but he's also down 2 plates and the parlay gold going into it. So yeah, I think the lane's almost over for the GP. The Herald has to be played somewhere else.
Yeah, one does not simply outfarm a Gangplank.
Nope.
Especially not when it's Rest Gangplank. Very, very good. And he's been having a solid split for himself too. I think Rest, you know, CFO is not short for highly experienced and storied players, but Rest is one of those guys that I think he flies under the radar sometimes, but he plays incredibly well on these types of champions. Always seems to have a blast doing it too. I think he's given the emotes a rest this game. I haven't actually seen them come up just yet, but there's plenty of time left. We're not quite at 10 minutes yet.
He's already flashed his emotes actually earlier.
Did I miss it? I missed it.
Yeah. He actually used one of his favorite emotes, and that is the scream right in front of Likai, you know? He won the lane, shoved it in. Nard doesn't get any wave control, and he showed him up right with the BM.
Yeah, you got me. I didn't realize. Yeah, well, he's the BM king, and yeah, the scream emote is like kind of signature, right? Just throw it out like when you're winning. Like it's like playing one of those. It's like playing one of like the microtransaction-y like phone games, you know, like Clash or something. Like when you're winning, you just like keep like slamming the emote to try and tilt your opponent. it's a good strategy for Rest, apparently.
I actually think I probably have Rest's entire emote wheel memorized. It's probably true that he does swap around.
I am not surprised.
But there is the scream, there is the crying Amumu, there is the white flag, and there is also the husky lying in a pool of tears, which he actually uses against Beyond Gaming when they actually had husky on the team. So there you go.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no. Rest is a guy who thinks about his emotes. Oh my goodness, Minji jumping into mission, and it is dueling Chaos Storms. They will both get away. Oh man, that is just fun to watch. Silas is good times.
Yeah, mission with a victory is not really going to come online until much later into the game. Gemini trying to find something here, but I think they know Kino's missing. Yeah, the question mark kings are there.
Okay, here we go. They're going to bring Kino to the party. Turns into a 3v3, gets a lick on a Koala, handshake. Dissuades the further action. Minji's a little low to go for the full dive here, and that's the worry, right? Beyond Gaming, they are the triple dive team. They do get the dragon, and we didn't talk about that as much. We were a little focused on Rest emote wheel there, but Hextech, it's a slow stacker. I don't think the Soul is going to be a big point of contention this game. It hasn't been all day, as the games have just ended well before it comes online. So, Beyond Gaming, they're just looking for anything they can find here, down 1,000 gold at 12 minutes.
And so far, I really like what Beyond Gaming has been doing. They've been constantly dipping Minji into Fog of War, going towards the bot side, and that just means CFO, they can't really push the wave. They have to back out every time Wako just shoves. It's very dangerous for them because they know the Victor cannot match Minji, and the 2v2 would go in the favor of Beyond Gaming. So that's always, I think, a huge difference between your more experienced teams and your less experienced ones. It's just how much you can use the fact that your enemy doesn't know where you're going, but they have to respect you to create those small advantages.
Beyond no stranger to it here. Looks like that's the straight drop mid, and they found a little bit of a timing window. That's going to be at least one plate just off the damage. Here comes Gemini trying to chase him off, and second plate, charge in. They get all of them. Nicely done.
And I did get my prediction right. I feel like going for mid lane probably made the most sense here. You want Minji to be fed in this matchup, and he's going to be the main diver here, so his AP is going to translate into the stolen Chaos Storm most likely as well, and you want to make sure he has more priority over the side of Mission. So they've already got, I still think they kept Mission down pretty well this game, so they have stage 1 of the Beyond Gaming Battle of the Banks game plan done. Stage 2 is just about ganking and showing up onto Shun.
Here we go. Gonna have 4v3 at the moment. Have to know this is happening on the CFO side. How often do you get to see this happening to CFO? Getting pushed in the bot side. Shun normally dominating his lane, but Wako is no slouch, and on this Jinx he's been playing quite well. Busha back into the middle. Looks for the clone. You see Mission playing to the strong side. It's nice. I think he's kind of learned a few things.
Yeah, this is definitely not a great look for Mission, but it's kind of expected given the Victor pick. CFO, I think they're actually still doing fine in terms of the gold lead. Beyond Gaming still need to break open this game with a big play bottom. I feel like that is what's going to make them safe. But the big issue for them is their top lane, there's not much they can do for Rest to give up his Cannon Barrage. Diving into a Cannon Barrage is, I think it's way too difficult for them to actually pull off. So in my view, CFO are actually fairly safe. And the most likely break for Beyond Gaming actually might not be the bot lane, but trying to find a Mission without his flash and breaking open the mid.
Yeah, I think you're right. It does open up a fair bit of the map for themselves, but it's just, it is a timer. You're playing into a Gangplank, you're playing into a Victor, you're playing into a Zeri. Like, you've got triple threats in that late game that you need to shut down, like, I want to say like 2 of if you want to get that big play. They are going to try to accelerate this game, though. Wako finds an opening, doesn't opt to try and fire down the tower because he sees Rest coming, who is fully swapped down to the bottom, and now everybody's playing for Herald, it seems. Handshake pulls Husha in, doesn't clone. Gemini and Koala can't really contest, though. Teleport in mid. Shun could be caught out. Does step over the Flame Chompers and sends an Ultra Shock back the opposite way, and that's party of the mid lane.
Beyond Gaming need to move fast if they want to move at all. They know they have a 5v4 numbers advantage, and it looks like CFO are happy to trade this one tower for tower, plus the Drake going in. I actually think this is a pretty smart idea from CFO. You don't want a head-on fight that could give Beyond Gaming a big advantage. Instead, they're just trading away objectives and even finding good poke.
Yeah, it was really nice. I mean, really not the all-in potential because Kino was right there, but Wako got chunked halfway down, had to burn his own cleanse.
Yeah.
And you've got a trade of Drakes. The Herald gets taken by Beyond Gaming, but really good advantage there. The drop of Cannon Barrage means Lekai can't even push the tower.
So that was, all in all, one Herald for a full tower. That was definitely in advantage for CFO here. They get so much of a tempo lead as they deny that wave, buy themselves 30 seconds. Yes, the tower will go down, but think about where the gold is actually going. One is on Lekai, who, doesn't get any plates here. He's still not going to get back into the game. And on the other hand, it was CFO force-feeding Gameplank with the first brick bounty.
Yeah, I think that's something that you've got to watch for. Triforce, of course, matched on both sides, but look at the extra items that the Gangplank's already bringing out into this game. It's just a champion that, like, once you start getting those stats from the items, it is so difficult to try and match anywhere on the map. Side pressure, not to mention the Cannon Barrage makes such a huge difference. Yes, you can seal it away. We saw Minji doing that in the mid, but oh boy, it's not going to be the easiest. So, yeah, in addition to the Triforce, Executioner's Calling, he's got the Warhammer. They do get the catch-off on the Kino as well, and man, they just shred him down. Oh boy, Shun adds another kill to his bounty.
Oh boy, Kino actually being a little bit too adventurous with his W right there, gets caught out.
Great
handshake.
Oh my goodness, just right in front and denies it fully. Minji looking for the chase down. They do command Mission, but the friends are here. Shun hops the wall. Mission gets a bailout, will go down nonetheless, and into the play they go with the hostile takeover. Wako may get a kill into Koala, but man, he looked like he was going to get a kill into his own team after that. 2-for-1 trade in favor of Beyond as the dust settles.
Yeah, I think CFO went a little bit too far. Actually, Gameplank wasn't able to join the fight. Cannon Barrage wasn't up either, so Mission just gets caught out wandering the map again.
There it is. There's no like, it's not like he uses one thing for one or the other. Like, he will just slam the emotes. Like, Rest is a player that just loves it. But let's take a look at this. Man, Usha totally stuffed on that. But you're right, CFO, I think they get a little bit too greedy, and Mission's on the wrong side of the river.
I gotta say, that was greedy as hell from Mission. The pathing there was so bad. He actually walks all the way up the ramp onto the enemy side of the jungle and just gets caught out. So, if you see Mission normally, he's great in lane, he's a super strong late game carry. But if you put him behind, he is kind of known for just kind of getting lost in the woods, if you will.
Yeah. Speaking of behind, Rest is doing all it can to continually deny Lekai any sort of gold advantage, but Beyond looking to push into the mid. However, Mission, okay, he's caught out again this time, but the team is there to try and chase him back. Towers in the fall. Here we go, Gangplank ulti from downtown, and the hostile takeover stolen and pushed back away. Minji, though, forced to flash and dash to safety. The CFO, they got plenty of firepower as well. It's Beyond who get cold feet and have to dodge out.
So Beyond Gaming take the tower, but they lose so much HP, they're going to lose the entirety of the map here. CFO have a great chance for just setting up for future Drakes. We have that in about 90 seconds. Lekai still not a threat whatsoever. Oh, nope. You can tell that he can get bursted down so easily.
He's trying, but yeah, just the stats difference is starting to show up here. So, another tower knockdown for CFO, keeping pace well and finding answers. This is turning into a very scrappy game, Clement. You can see both teams very, very hungry.
Yeah, and I really want to see Mission go a little bit earlier into Zanias. Just keep himself safe here.
Yeah, please.
It's not the standard build for sure for a Victor, but I think in this situation where you're going up against triple dive and you've been caught out this many times, just go for an early Zanias. Make sure you're foolproof, and you can just let Rest carry the game.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like Rest is going to be able to carry. You're going to have a late game Zeri that will do a lot. It's such a huge difference. Like, Rest is a full, like, he's pretty much like a full item. I guess he's a half an item ahead of the Gnar at the moment. With the Tenpunk Chainsword already completed, like, it's 20 minutes into the game. Like, you've got a late game win condition that is going to be almost insurmountable. Mission, just play safe. That's all you got to do.
Yep. That's all I want for Christmas and for CFO, for our top financial institution in the island.
Hey, they're not
please,
stopping there,
Mission.
Clement.
Oh, that's probably
they're by your side and they're ready to embrace the late game at this one. So we'll see if it happens. Yeah, that's burned into my brain.
It's the greatest advertisement of all.
Honestly, it really is. Like it's you know I've come to appreciate the cinematic aspect of that particular advert, and yeah, we'll get into that a little bit more later. Beyond,
I feel like it's
with a dragon. They're doing okay.
the Silver Scrapes effect. If you listen to it for 7 hours on straight, then it instantly becomes a classic. Because everything you listen afterwards, you have to compare it to that commercial.
You know, you're not wrong about that for sure. I definitely think it's an absolute banger. But while we're on the subject of like good songs too, I want to give a shout out to Dodo Sin over there in LPL, the old school days. So I feel like that was like on the level. But only the old school LPL fans will remember that one.
You're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to Google that.
Oh, you don't know Dodo Sin? Oh, Clement, I gotta send you a mixtape after this.
All right.
Yeah, it was that was the LPL's Silver Scrapes for a while, man.
Our play-by-plays are dropping mixtapes. Yeah, let's go. Gemini.
Hey, man, Roth is showing us all up, so we got it. Anyways, Ultra Shock Laser over the wall here. I love that these teams are both looking for an opener, looking for the scrap. There's so much damage on both sides, and I kind of feel like Minji has gotta. He's gonna be the X factor here, right? Look at these ults that he has to steal.
I would say Cannon Barrage is probably the one with the most immediate impact, but Mission for sure is probably the best one. So either one should be the one that Minji is going through, and he's just looking for burst potential here anyway. I will say Beyond Gaming actually has a lot of threat in this situation because CFO don't have anyone to face check. Whoever goes in can instantly just be killed by the CC chain. Abduct into Abyssal Dive will do that for you. So CFO, I feel like, have to just skirt around the corners and just play with blue trinkets and play with their poke tools to face check instead.
Makes a lot of sense. Try to play it out a little safely here. It's a dicey game at the moment. Very, very close. CFO do have the gold lead, but it is only 2,000, and they are down a dragon. Ocean Soul this game will potentially be on the table. I mean, I feel like this is going to be on a knife's edge. It looks like, one big full committed fight going awry could turn things, but both teams well aware of that fact. These are two of our top teams here in the league. One of the reasons why the Battle of the Banks is such a banger.
It's always an upset. That's one of the reasons.
That's also true. Every single time. We've had 3 of them, and it's just 3 for 3. Well, I feel like the real upset is seeing CFO win, despite the fact that they're ahead in the standings. Shun gets poked by the rocket. Oh no, Minji's getting caught this time, and I think swallowed up by the Kino. Gonna try to keep him alive with the hostile takeover coming through into the Gangplank ultimate, and the chase is on. Get out! Beyond have gotten away. Can they keep away from CFO? Nobody dies here today.
What a hero play coming in from Kino right there. He had exactly the right summoners to get out from that situation. Flashes in, takes away Minji, Abyssal dives away, and then gets out of the Cannon Barrage. That was, that could have gone a lot worse.
Oh, yeah, that was a full-on protect the president. What a play from Kino. I mean, his Tom Kench is very, very well known. Back stopped here. He's a great engaged player, but he also knows how to play on the defensive, and saving that tool, even has the QSS, all the tools you mentioned. Now, Beyond do have an opening, and they start the Baron on this one. The back is there. Mission has TP. Might have to spend it.
Yeah, they're a little bit slow to the scene. Yeah, indeed. Victor is coming here. And you have to remember, Victor does have to stop off.
We might just have ourselves a handshake if Beyond want to commit to it, but they want to go for the fight anyways. They find the 2 knockup, and Husha getting melted through by Mission. The Death Laser. Husha getting Mission getting his revenge without the smite. Beyond can't force the fight. Lee Kai does just barely get to gnar his way away, and Gemini getting a bailout, but Wako takes him down all the same. Now it's chasing onto him. He flashes away the barrels, and everything's dropping down as Kino goes gold. Mission taking out the Jinx, and it's all CTBC Flying Oyster flying high in this one.
Yeah, Husha doesn't even get the Cyclone, the second Cyclone off, just gets instantly popped there by Mission. He's been farming up a storm. Kino has nowhere to go. Goodbye, Toad.
Oh, he gets the execute! Oh my.
Probably still loses the Baron, but...
that's honestly that's super worth because they didn't even get to take Baron.
That's true. That's true.
Yes. Hey, look, I'm just saying, silver linings. All right, it's 5 to
Yeah.
5 in kills. That was I thought CFO would turn for that, but they instead tried to chase Kino. Let's look at that fight again, though. This setup, I think Beyond thought they had a more HP on Husha than they did.
Yeah, the problem here was that Likai has absolutely no rage when CFO actually finds him at Baron, so he's not able to engage. Husha is the one that goes out of the pit, but he's the one with the smite, so they instantly have to back off of this fight. I will say that Gemini goes a little bit over-aggressive at the start of this one, allows him to trade back a single kill, but you can tell Victor is now officially online, and he doesn't take no prisoners.
Yeah, so that whole thing about playing safe, like, all right, he's like, I'm putting my carry pants on. I deserve it after that laning phase. 26-26, we got 2 dragons apiece in the game. A CFO matched it, and Baron not taken, but doesn't matter. They can just push in and chase down Wako. Oh boy, those Chaos Storms are starting to tingle. That's going to be another tower taken. Minji get a match on top side, though.
Minji has to be the sole carry right here. He has to go in and just snipe out, I think, Victor. If he doesn't get that, Victor just does way too much damage into the late game.
Here's the TP.
Teleport out.
Oh, there he goes. All right, can't stop him. Does burn the TP, but he is out of there. So the game continues to turn just a little bit. CFO with the gold lead. I gotta tell you, Clement, I still don't know how this is gonna go. The late game, yeah, CFO are looking incredibly good, but Beyond are still trying to make these moves.
I will say there's a couple interesting things here that we have to pay attention to. The first one is that CFO, on rest, he does have that Sorelia's Grudge. So if Beyond Gaming take a fight, they're not walking out of it. The slows are going to be there. It's going to be so hard to get away from rest. But on the other side, we have Wako right now with a big power spike over Shun. Wako right now does more damage with the 3-item, with the Infinity Edge. So if Beyond Gaming find a decisive fight, they get the early burst down, they could win this. But if they don't get those critical finds, on the flip side, I think Russ is just going to clean house. So, very, very close fight. I think it's an all-or-nothing fight. You're not going to see a lot of people walking away from this one at the end.
Yeah, I think the prediction is this game's probably going to end somewhere around the 30-minute mark, one way or the other. Husha, ooh, gets spotted on a potential flank here. Rest looks to chase him down. This could be trouble for Beyond Gaming. I think they were hoping for a big multi-man cyclone, but he's going to try to use it to try and carve his way out. Gemini keeps him locked up. The handshake. Minji gets caught up in the mess as well, and that's going to be not 1, but 2 kills down. Just a matter of time here.
A risky play from Husha. It does not play off whatsoever. Beyond Gaming are just going to give up the Baron. I understand the idea of trying to find a sneaky flank, but honestly, his sweeper wasn't even on. Walking through that much distance and just praying that there isn't a ward there, I think that was way too risky. It was totally not worth it.
A little too bold. So they get an inner tower, but yeah, 5 members of CFO have the Baron. This is going to be the go button for them to just start the siege, and it is a pretty beastly one. I mean, you could just... The lasers are going to force you back on both Zeri and Mission, and Victor, rather, and you know, if you get too close to the barrel chain, you're in some serious trouble. They may not even get into the fight if they just put one wrong foot too far forward.
Yeah, CFO now will have full map control. They can turn around, and we've been talking up their comp this entire time. It's all about terrain denial. You're not going to walk past these barrels or this Chaos Storm, so I feel like CFO have a lock on the next Drake. Beyond Gaming probably have to give up all of their outer turrets, their jungle, and the next objective as well. And I just want Beyond Gaming to remember, if they want to fight, it has to be an all-or-nothing fight. You're not walking away from rest at this point. You have to make sure that you're in it to finish it.
Oh yeah, you got it. Like, one way or the other, you got to full send it. Otherwise, you're just straight up losing anyways. So we'll see if Beyond can hold on. 30 minutes have elapsed in this game. CFO in the driver's seat, looking for the finisher, looking for their first victory in the Battle of the Banks, conquering their Beyond Gaming demons. Looking good right now.
Can CFO actually go beyond Gaming?
Plus Ultra.
Yeah.
Yes, I am a secret weave. Everyone knows now. Teleport. There's the flank.
Here comes the flank.
Oh, I don't know if they saw that. They can't get over the base. Oh, yeah, I think they know.
They definitely see it. They definitely see it.
Gnar bar. Okay, game is up. It's a nice try, but you might have just fed your Gnar over. Let's see if they can get something off the back of it here. They get one Gnar. No, two knocked. They caught rest. Can they delete it before he flashes back into the team? I don't think they can. They tried it, but it just wasn't enough. Getting shredded through. That's the ace. That'll be the base. And CFO, the Flying Oyster, will in fact be flying to victory.
CFO finally take back their namesake. They are the top financial institution. They are our sponsors, and they are going to come in and wipe this one down. Congratulations to CFO finally finding their first organization win over Mega Bank Beyond Gaming.
Well done. CFO improve to 9-3, looking to challenge for that top spot, and we expected this based on their spring performance. They've had a couple of stumbles, but all smiles here as they take down Mega Bank Beyond Gaming. Yeah, top financial institutions. Also, how about this for a top team here in the PCS? They have taken this league by storm.
What a great
Chaos
performance for them. True. The last fight, I really think that the MVP for me in this game, even though I would say the baseline success mainly came off of rest, Koala played his heart out. Koala had so many good handshakes, and his last hostile takeover hit everyone on the side of Beyond Gaming. Beyond Gaming didn't even have time to settle their dispute with CFO, another financial institution. They were just, settling debts amongst themselves, and they didn't have any time to turn around.
It was a hostile takeover, man. It's, hey, look, business is cutthroat. I'm just saying, especially in League of Legends. You gotta be careful when you're up against a Renata Glaskin. Yeah, Koala played incredibly well. I think he is a very, very solid support in a league that has so many good ones. And credit to Kino too, but this was the start. This was the attempt. It gets seen. CFO just have great ward coverage, great vision. It's a good Gnar, but not good enough to win Beyond Gaming this game.
Yeah, Shin instantly pops back out, and you can see the ultimates here layered over even the Cannon Barrage and the Chaos Storm. That is a wombo combo if I have ever seen one. And in a blink of an eye, Beyond Gaming simply evaporates.
Oh man, yeah. So, the first win in the head-to-head all-time there for CT Beastie Flying Oyster. Very, very good. We knew that they had every advantage from the draft in terms of comfort, in terms of what they were going to be able to do. Maybe the one question mark was the Spiego. Didn't even really need it. I mean, yeah, like Gemini was still around. He was still making plays. He was setting things up. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they were able to neutralize a lot of the threats on the Beyond Gaming side. Mission untiltable, perhaps. He did have a few question mark plays, but he still scaled up. He still had the edge, and this is what happens when you give him the champions, the tools to succeed, and you don't win elsewhere on the map.
I feel like, unfortunately, there was a couple things that Beyond Gaming did wrong with this draft. The Tahm Kench, in the end, didn't do anything. I think the Tahm Kench was a complete dead pick.
One great save on the Silas. That's the highlight play for me, but you're right. Like, honestly, that was just kind of saving Minji from himself, and it was not the most impactful support play.
I feel like they needed to full send it with an engaged composition. The ban on Vi was super weird. I honestly feel like this Vi ban was them banning something that they wanted to pick themselves. Exactly.
I would have loved a Nocturne. Like, imagine, this is a team. I was saying it in pick bans. Like, this is a team that they're good on wards. They're gonna be trinketing everything. Just turn out the lights. They're gonna scatter. The coordination, Beyond Gaming have had better team fighting coordination when they know. Why not play into that? Give yourself the edge. But they had a bit of an oopsie in the draft, and I think, Clement, you are very vindicated because you've been saying this for weeks that Beyond Gaming have some scuffed drafts, and they don't get punished for it nearly enough. They did this time.
They certainly did. A couple of things I didn't think Beyond Gaming went well for them. The top lane was way too far behind. It was without jungle interference, and he was already down 20 CS before the dive came top. And then Lee Kai was kind of a non-factor the entire game. Tahm Kench, really weird pick. I'm not sure what they were supposed to do with that one. I would have much preferred an Amumu. You just full send it. Yeah, you want to go in, you got to go in together. You got to hold hands.
At least you can hit that R button, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they wanted to do with that one. On the other side for CFO, I still think you saw a lot of weird plays from Mission. I hope this isn't a factor when it comes into playoffs, because I think there's a real chance that if Beyond Gaming somehow get to meet CFO in the upper bracket, they could drastically change the trajectory of our top financial institution.
Oh boy. Whoa. Yeah, it's a bold prediction, but it's certainly possible. Yeah, I think there are definitely still a few kinks to work out. But CFO, this has got to mean a lot for them. Like
Yeah.
for a team that sometimes hinges on the mental factor. Mission has to be very happy about this because he knows that Beyond Gaming had it out for him. But Rest, I mean, talk about steel mental as well, and just getting in the heads of his opponents. Coming up, the BM King gets himself an MVP award, and he was here, he was there, he was everywhere on this gangplank, and you could not keep the pirate down.
Oh, and this is getting really scary because this split, Rest, he has a lot of those blind pick champions that he is still incredibly good at. Last split it was the Gwen, and the Graves. This split it's the Gnar and the Gangplank. If you leave either open, he's simply not losing lane. We haven't seen Rest punished the entire way. It's not like the previous splits where you had a Top King, you had YS Cam that could sometimes bring it to him. I think he's just been just riding out and just beating all his opponents.
Absolutely. Well, CFO are flying high. We'll see if PSG can do the same up against Sem9 next. Don't go anywhere.